Hey there everyone, Infusion here, and today I'm going to show you how you can make an EDM track, sort of in the style of Avicii or sort of things you would hear on the radio. Alright, so it's not my usual genre, but I've looked around YouTube, looked up some tutorials, and been practicing a little with this style of track, and I'm here today to show you my findings and hopefully give you a little more insight into how you can make tracks in this style and make them work for you. Alright, so the very first thing we're going to do is we're just going to lay out a chord progression on which to base our track. Now to make this easier, I've loaded up a sampler channel here with just some blank notes so that I can see which chords that, to use for the track. I will actually have a link to an audio tool template in the description that you can go to after the video if you want to check out these chords to, just to make it easier for you. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to open our synth here and we're going to lay out some notes like this. And what we're going to do is we're just going to pick one of the chords here and copy those notes to the chord. Alright, so that'll be our first chord here, and we'll just bump it up to our second chord and pretty much just repeat the process to finish the whole progression. Okay. And move this on over here. Alright, I think maybe we'll just sort of move this up here at the end. Alright, so that's just the basic chords that you're going to be using. So what I want you to do now is just to take the top notes and paste them up an octave. Just like this. And you can just move the notes around until you find something that fits in the scale. So, there you have it. That's our starting pattern that we're going to work with. Alright, so for your track, you're going to have two different kinds of synths. One's going to be a short, sort of plucky one, and the second is going to be a big stack of really fat super saws and trance-type chords. So I've watched some videos on YouTube on how to do this, and usually what people will do is they'll just use Nexus presets, but I'm going to show you like the basic way how to do this without having to have a Nexus preset. Okay, so before we do that, I'm just going to let you hear what it sounds like with the synths I've already put in. So you can see it really sounds a lot more fat and wide there. Okay, so the first synth I'm going to show you how to make is the plucky synth. And actually the sort of big fat wide synth and the plucky synth are sort of the same. They just have different filter cutoff. So we're going to add a new channel here. I'll load up our synth. And we're going to copy this pattern over. So pretty much what you're going to do, you're going to have two oscillators, have them both set to saw, or you could use square or whatever. But what's important is you have one that's one octave lower. So all you have to do now is add coarse in audio tool. This would be the SD tune pedal, but I wouldn't recommend using the coarse in audio tool because it kind of sucks. But here we're just going to use coarse. add some reverb and some delay. So that's how you're going to make your sort of wide, fat trance synth. And all you have to do to make the pluck one is just use the filter envelope to make it sort of stabby. So we'll do that right here. Add a little bit of envelope amount. So pretty easy, right? All right, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to copy this over here, and we're going to make our bass line. And all you're going to do for this is you're just going to get rid of all these top notes and just use the bottom notes. Just going to reset the synth here. First thing you're going to want is 1 octave lower square. And second one, you're going to want to tune by 700 cents, or 7 semitones. Maybe you add in a little pitch bend or portamento. All right, and the same as before, just add sort of a little bit of a plucky envelope to your synth here. All right, let's hear how that sounds. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is add in a piano track. You can use different synths, but usually it's good to layer in a piano. And we'll open this filter up here. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add one more synth, which is going to play just the melody. So I don't really want to use all the notes here. You can kind of mess around, but just generally use the top notes. Just add a little bit of reverb to this. So you can see we just have a bit of reverb. All right, so pretty much you have most of the parts you're going to need to start the overall composition of the track, and I'll show you how to do that right now. Okay, so before the video, I actually was working on a little sort of demo track just so that I could illustrate to you the composition and what to do in terms of that with your song. I used the exact same method I just showed you to make the chords and whatnot. So I'm just going to let you have a listen to what that sounds like. And here, there's the keys. Here's the bass I showed you how to make. And we got a couple sort of trancey synths there. Again, if you have Nexus, like, you pretty much just add some stupid Nexus presets and it'll sound exactly like that. Anyways, I just want to cover one important thing before I get more onto the composition, and that's to do with EQ. When you have all these big synths stacked up like this, it's taking up a lot of frequency range, and you just want to make sure you scoop out a bit of the mid-range. Otherwise, your mix is going to sound really kind of watered down and muddy. So I'm just going to let you hear sort of the difference with EQ and without the EQ. So that's with the EQ. And take it off. You can hear how there's all that sort of mid-rangey stuff. But that sounds a lot smoother. So all you have to do for this is just roll off the low end, scoop out a bit of the mid-range, and that's just sort of the basic gist of what you want to do. It's going to vary, of course, for what synths you're using, but that's the general gist of it. Anyways, let's get back onto the composition. Alright, so let's just start with the main chorus section. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take the chords and add in just a basic drum beat. I got all this made already, so... Okay, so the main thing you're going to do is every 4 or 8, you're going to drop something, add in like a fill or effect or variation of some kind. You can use different things for this, like you can use like stupid Prida snare. Throw this in here, man. Another thing you can do is just whip in Vengeance fill sample. Like, it's pretty easy. Just get Vengeance fill sample, man. See, that makes it sound way better. Okay, last thing you're going to want to do for this is add in some white noise going down. You basically just add in some whooshes and sidechain it. You can do a few other things, like you can do the tape stop effect. If you're an audio tool, you just use the Rasselbach. It's pretty easy. You can add some filter sweeps or something. Another thing you can do is just cut out the main synths and use one of the individual synths. So yeah, you basically just keep repeating that a few times. You could do something like put clap on every kick or ride on every kick or something. But that's the basic gist of your main section. Now, your build-up is pretty easy. This is kind of a lazy, like, not really a build-up, but before you play the main part, you're just going to have the melody repeat with all your synths. And again, just find like some Vengeance sound effect or something, or you can just make your own with like a whoosh. See there, we just have the piano melody playing over top. A lot of time people just like to throw in a vocal sample right here. For your intro, all you have to do is just, instead of having the big, huge mega synth, you just use your little synth. So it's a little different here, as you can see. I just use straight 16th notes, but it's the exact same chord progression. And the melody's over top here. So it's like the basic idea is you have like sort of a smaller version of the synth. It'll go into the big thick one and then to your break. And you could pretty much just copy paste that over and over, add in a few variations and some sound effects. And I mean, if you have vocals, well, good. It makes it easy to make your track because you don't really have to put in effort. Anyways, so let's just have a listen to that, shall we? So we just have the noise sound effect, have our little plucky synth, and it's gonna come and break into the main melody. We just reuse our vengeance fill here. Yeah, pretty much just keep repeating that same thing over and over. And there you go. That is how to make an EDM track. Thanks for sticking with me this far. If you like what you see, subscribe to the channel. I'm definitely planning on making more videos in the future. All right, so as always, hope you found it useful. This is Infusion signing out.